is up? It is Rocky Tiger here, coming at you with another episode on the BeyondVanilla server, and I actually haven't been online in about 3 or 4 days because I was having issues with Minecraft. I could not figure out for the life of me what was going on. Something was eating all of my frames and my FPS for breakfast, and I think I finally narrowed it down, and I think that it was sadly the shaders, and I'm not sure why it all of a sudden decided that the shaders were just not going to be a thing, but it did. So here we are playing Minecraft in its purest form without shaders for the first time in several months, and let me tell you, it's looking just as beautiful as it always looks, but it's going to throw me off for a little bit. Now, the unfortunate thing is that I haven't actually been able to even really play the game, and we're still getting a little bit of jitteriness, and I'm not sure if that's server lag or some still issues with frame rate on the client side, but I cannot for the life of me remember exactly what I was doing last. I started trying to film a world tour video and was having so many issues with my computer that I had to stop and wait until I could try and get it all sorted, which involved lots of updating, changing stuff around. I think the replay mod may have had something to do with it as well, so I basically had to do more or less a fresh install of Minecraft and get all of the different jars and everything reinstalled just so that I could actually play even without shaders on. So I've been offline. I've been AWOL for a couple of days while I've been trying to work that through, or work it out and figure out what was going on. And so I can't remember just about anything of what I was doing. I know there's a couple of things that I've done since the last time I shot an episode, but, well, technically I shot an episode and, yeah, well, problems. It was when I was shooting one of the episodes, I think it was episode 25, which I think is actually what we're on right now. The first time I tried to shoot episode 25 and it didn't work, it kind of went back and watched the replays and the footage and everything, and look, there's a kitty. It was just absolutely awful, and I couldn't use it because we're talking frame rate dips down to like 5 frames a second. So hopefully today we will be doing much better. But I can show you what I did work on, which was the castle complex over here, which is what our project had been, and then I tried to do a world tour video and everything, and yeah, lots of problems. But we've been working hard over here at the Northgard castle and got a couple of buildings constructed and semi-furnished, not completely furnished, but we've got some semi-furnishings going on in here. Let's see, did I show this one? Gosh, this is what happens when you had a schedule and you did lots of filming and then your schedule gets broken, and plus lots of other things that are going on in my personal life. So I think this is going to be more of a talky sort of episode, and no, I don't think I had shown this particular house. I was getting confused because it looks very similar to the house that is over there next to the lighthouse. This is just a small additional Nordic style building. Just supposed to be straightforward little, honestly I'm not sure if I would turn it into like a temple or a mini barracks or something, but we got the outside of the building constructed and I think it turned out pretty nice. Haven't finished the porch over there, but we did build a kind of guard tower structure, and then this, which looks way cooler from the outside than it does from the inside. The outside looks pretty interesting. It's an asymmetrical, lots of different lines, lots of different angles type of Nordic house, but when it comes to functionality on the inside, well, let's just take a look and see. It's, oh, hello, Mr. Zombie. How did you get in here? There are lights everywhere. They should not be able to spawn in here, and yet they did. Gotta love Minecraft sometimes. Anyways, as you can see, the inside of the house, it's looking a little bare. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bare, but it's when you get up to the second floor, you've got kind of this overhang here. I think maybe I'll put, I don't have any, but a fence or something there. You've got kind of a master bedroom type setup right here. We're just gonna leave the doors open, but there are no windows here. I might change that, might add a window into there just to make it look a little bit more open. Kind of wasted space right here, but then you get up to the top floor and you know, this is where I started running into some problems because I wanted to put a bed in this room, and if I put a bed here and had even just stairs, any sort of non-half slab, you couldn't get from the door here to the bed. It's not, I mean, you can walk up like this, but you couldn't get up onto it. So it was kind of a problem. So it ends up just having this kind of half open area, which I'm not a huge fan of. And then you have this other bedroom, which is slightly better. I don't think I've actually tried to sleep in this bed. I don't know if that would work or if it would push you off to the side over here, or if it would make you suffocate in the walls. I'm not entirely certain either. I mean, the view is kind of cool, and it's an interesting looking room, but it's kind of lacking in the way of practicality. And then you have the kind of turret at the top, which is just completely wasted space because it's literally at there is just a 1x1 area, and you know, ladders getting up and down is not exactly the fanciest looking building of all. It looks okay from the outside though. It just well, it's lacking in terms of interior design and practicality. But overall, I'm happy with the way it looks from the outside. I think it's an interesting looking build. This one, it needs a little bit of work. I think maybe doing something different with just these cobblestone lines going up. It's looking a little bare in the center part, but I haven't quite figured out what I would do to change it. As for the actual interior, it's literally just a 3x3 up to the top where you have a kind of overlook for you know, watching out. Every castle complex needs some sort of guard type tower. We worked a little bit on terraforming this area as well, so you just have stones kind of carved out into the sides for coming up here. And I still want to do something in this area. I know I had thought about doing a fountain, but I'm not sure if there's going to be enough room to do a fountain. At the very least, I don't think I'm going to leave it just plain stone. I think that looks a little bit too monochromatic. Maybe change it up, add some andesite and some cobblestone, maybe some gravel, just kind of change it up so it doesn't look just so completely flat. But I also don't know if that's what we're gonna do today or not, because like I said, you know, you kind of get out of a routine and you start to wonder, what is it that I want to do next, or what was I working on? You know, I had been in such a groove, or had been in such a groove, that now coming out of that groove, it's really throwing me for a loop. So let's just try and fly around a little bit, and I'm gonna see if I can think of anything that just jumps out at me and says, this is what we should do on today's episode of Beyond Vanilla. And I have it. I know exactly what we should do. We should try and sleep in every single bed across the entire server. Right? Right? That sounds exciting, right? No? Okay, well, that's not actually what we're going to do. We are going to get to work on part of a project over here, kind of in the Dockside area. And I think what we should do today is work on the Dockside Inn. This was an idea that I talked about a couple episodes ago, or mentioned it at the very least, and I think it's something that we should really start working on. The first and foremost thing that I want to do, though, is I want to take a look and just stand in here. And I think that this may be just a little bit too small. So I think what I actually want to do, firstly, is I want to scoot this whole thing. We can see that this would have been the entire interior section of the inside. So it would have been only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks across. And I think I'm going to want to extend that up to be at least 7 blocks across. So we're going to push everything back over 1, 2, and 3 blocks just to make sure that we have enough room for an interior, because we're going to learn from our mistake from that house over there in the castle complex, and we're going to make sure that we have enough space to actually work with here. So block that off about 3 blocks out, and 1 and 2 and 3. And then we just need to get the rest of the foundation done, and I will join you, or rejoin you, once I've got that completed. Alright, so we've got our basic, very basic foundation kind of laid out here. I actually extended it back 2 blocks further as well. The way that this particular design is going to work is it's going to be a rather large structure with 2 different areas. So over on this side is going to be where the actual inn is, so it's going to be very small rooms and a dedicated building just for that. It's probably going to be 2 stories tall. And then over here is going to be the actual tap room type of setup. So it's going to be a split building with a conjoined base here, which is what we have built up this sort of foundation. We're going to do some decorative work on the foundation itself, and I still need to actually put in the rest of the cobblestone right up here just for this kind of center breezeway that's going to connect the 2 of them. They're not going to have any sort of connecting feature, so they're going to look like they're 2 independent buildings that are going to be styled very, very similar. And we're also going to do a lot of decorative work so it doesn't just look like a stone box down here at the bottom. I'm actually really excited to see how this build is going to turn out. I've had this idea in my head for a couple weeks now, and I think it's going to turn out pretty neat. But let's just go ahead, and I need to do a little bit of work first on finishing some of this foundation, and then we're going to do it in the form of a third-person time-lapse. Well, I either need to do a massive amount of tree chopping, or I need to make a trip over to Spawn to see if the wood shop has any regular oak, because I think that's the direction that I want to go for this particular build, and I am fresh out of regular oak logs, so I need to get some stripped oak. It's a more expensive type of build, but, you know, support the local economy and all that. And the wood shop is pretty much out of wood. I think the only thing that's left, well, there's some jungle wood, which I don't want. The acacia's all out. Yeah, so, oh, and the trilagers are still there. I found this the other day. I'll show a quick clip of it, but there's a pillager that's stuck in the tree up here, and I released one of them the other day, so let me just roll that clip real quick. Yeah, I was a little shocked. Kind of must have spawned in there and now is stuck. So I guess the only option that I have is to go and find some regular oak, like planes or something like that, and get to chopping, because I am out of oak wood and I really need it. I seem to have fallen for a trap here. Hi, this is Rocky Tiger, and I'm coming at you live from heaven, apparently. Yay. Let's get out of here. Come on, let me up, let me up. Elytra, come on. I can't. Ah, free. Okay, I made it. Whew. Okay, so we got ourselves a good amount of resources gathered and got kind of stuck in an infinity room. So I'd call it a productive time leaving our base. But we got, I think, enough oak logs to be able to complete this build. And, you know, if we didn't get enough, then we definitely should have enough. We got some saplings now, so we can grow some, and yeah, we'll be fine now. I don't think I actually had any oak saplings left either, so we're in good shape now. The only thing I need to do right at this moment is go and get some glass so I can get some glass panes, because we definitely don't want a tavern slash inn slash whatever you want to call it without any glass. So let's see what I got. I got some white stained, which isn't really that I would want to go for color wise. So you know what, we're gonna grab half a stack of regular glass panes and see if we got some black dye, but I think I've got more ink sacks, so that should be plenty to dye this glass black, and then we can get ourselves some glass panes. For today's time-lapse chat, I wanted to talk about the way that people go about building and planning different builds in Minecraft. For this particular build, I didn't really have a plan. I didn't really have a creative mode build that I did before. I know that's what some people do, is they test out different builds in creative mode, and that's something that I've done a couple of times, but for the most part, I just kind of wing it. Sometimes I'll plan stuff out a little bit, or I'll look at other ideas and other builds from other YouTubers or different things posted on Reddit, but that's usually about as far as it goes. I don't spend a whole lot of time in creative mode testing out different builds before I go ahead and build them on the BeyondVanilla server. And that's the question of the day. When you guys are playing on a survival multiplayer Minecraft world, do you test out your builds in a creative mode first, or do you just kind of go for it and use your experience that you have before, experiment with it? Just what is your go-to plan for building? How do you guys go about that? What is your planning process? Just what is your overall theory on building in Minecraft? Is it better to go ahead and plan it out and do it in creative mode and then try and do it in survival? Or do you think that just going with the flow and seeing what works as you're going along and building is what works better? I don't know. I don't know if there's definitely not a right or wrong way. I don't know what the best way is necessarily, or the most efficient way. I like the way that this particular build turned out, but it's definitely I would say it's definitely pretty apparent that to a certain extent it wasn't something that I had planned out in advance, and it's not something I had actually tried building in advance. It's got some work that needs to be done on it, and I think that's okay. I think that's fine, and it's definitely something that's different and stands out from the rest of the builds over here at Northgard. And I'm still looking back at it and doing this voiceover, I'm satisfied with the way it turned out, but I'd like to see a couple of changes made, and I think that I can continue to do better. I haven't hit a wall in terms of my building improvements. I think it's still learning different stuff and getting better at these builds, but definitely can see where I still have a long way to go before I would call myself any sort of level of proficient and good builder at this game. Well, I think that is a pretty good start. I'm not 100% sold on using the stone brick as opposed to the cobblestone. It is a little bit inconsistent overall as a build, but I like the way that it's coming out so far, and there should be at least a 1 block gap that's going to separate the roof of the inn section from this part, which is the kind of tavern section. So we've got our access to storage down here below, which is going to get filled with chests and barrels and other things like that. And then you just hop right back up here, and you have the entrance to the tavern slash tap room itself. I I think I said itself a couple too many times. We still need to put some decoration in here. We need to put some stuff up on the shelves, which I think I'll be able to accomplish using some clever armor stand trickery. We're going to put a smoker up here with a chimney running up through this section. So we'll go ahead and remove that. So a chimney is going to be hopping up through the roof, so we'll have active chimney, which I think will look really cool. And then this top section, or the top floor, probably going to, we've got 4 blocks of space up from this level up, so I think I might put another floor up there for additional storage, kind of like an attic. I'm not entirely certain yet. At the very least, I think what I probably will end up doing is put some sort of support beam going across here, just because it looks a little bare if I don't put an attic up there. It still needs work, it still needs some work, but overall I'm liking the direction that it's heading in so far. It's a far cry different from these other builds than the rest of the town, but that's kind of what the goal was. I wanted it to look different. I wanted it to be a more unique looking building, and just because everything looking the same is kind of monotonous, it's kind of boring. So it's the goal is to, I am very good at this game, definitely. So the goal is to not have everything look the exact same. I want to continue to improve my builds, and so trying to change things up, make it look a little bit different, is all part of the process, and I think that this is definitely a step in the right direction for how this area can eventually be transformed into a really, really, really awesome looking base. I'm gonna add just a couple of finishing details on here. I really need to learn a new style of finish on the top of these roofs. I think that there's a style that you can do where instead of these the eaves just coming right up and then meeting at something like this, where we have that structure, that same sort of design on everything right now, there are some that actually are kind of cross-sectioned, so the stairs kind of jut off up here and then jut off up here instead. And I might try something like that, maybe use that as kind of the thing about that type of roof is that it looks to me like it's more primitive, and it also isn't just straight coming up, and I think that may have been a little bit too much. I think we're gonna have to take that one back down a little bit. It doesn't look so bad from this angle though, so yeah, I'll have to try. I'll have to experiment and look and see. But the thing about that other roof where it just kind of juts up this way and juts up this way, it also isn't just straight. So if you're looking at it from a profile like this, the roof wouldn't be straight up and down. It would actually be also kind of coming up at this angle, and that would be a much more challenging style of roof to build. But in terms of the overall way that it looks, it actually looks like a more primitive construction method or construction philosophy. I don't know what you would call it. It looks like it's more primitive. It's less developed. But with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really hoping that I'll be able to get the rest of this week's videos uploaded before I actually move, and then hopefully we'll have internet at my new house very quickly, so I won't actually miss any days of BeyondVanilla. I am kind of disappointed that I'm not able to do any more texture pack reviews right now, because those are some of the more interesting ones, or interesting types of videos, and has been more successful than my BeyondVanilla series has in terms of straight view count. But with all of that, we make do with what we can do. And thank you again for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you really like it, go ahead and subscribe. I will continue to try and put out new videos on the BeyondVanilla server every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But until next time, I will catch you all later. This is the most long drawn out outro that I think I've ever done. But look at that view. Look at that view. Bye!